This video is rated S for spoilers.
What's happening, baby? What's happening, baby? What's happening? Welcome back to Seko Entertainment. You know the deal. New video. You know, it's really annoying. Apart from you not subscribing to the channel and liking all the videos, is watching a movie and not knowing exactly what's going on. You see, the problem is if an actor then tells you what's happening blatantly, it's not the same effect. But directors have a way of telling you what's going on or how ABCD works in a way that's, I guess, part of the story. So insert a character who's as confused as the rest of us. In Inception, for example, we have Ariadne, who just joined Cobb's team, and she's learning how the whole going into people's dreams works.
We create and perceive our world simultaneously, and our mind does this so well that we don't even know what's happening. That allows us to get right in the middle of that process.
How?
By taking over the creating part. Now this is where I need you.
Right, so Arthur and Cobb are telling her how this works, and in a way they're also telling the audience how this works. You set your own rules, and it just makes the whole movie flow in such a way that things make sense, for the most part, because Inception is not a movie that just instantly makes sense to people, but at least they're trying to give you an idea. Another example, in Tenet, the protagonist is learning how the whole back and forth thing works.
An inverted bullet passing through your body would be devastating. Not pretty.
These look like today's.
They may have been made today and inverted years from now.
And it's not like any of the characters are telling the audience exactly what's going on, but like they're telling another character who genuinely also needs to know for the movie to progress. And that's a good form of point of view. The director is showing us in the point of view of a character who also doesn't know, and that character is basically a stand-in for the audience. You can't just have a movie about science fiction stuff that doesn't make sense to people. People need to understand what's actually going on in your movie. Another example is like The Bourne Identity, where Jason Bourne has lost his memory because of that one trip, and we're literally finding out things about his past and about his life as the movie progresses without just guessing. He's finding things out in real time. We're finding the very same things out in real time as well. That's kind of like point of view. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's point of view. So a character is given that responsibility to act as the audience, and them being confused or not knowing how things work, and things need to be explained to them. I'm saying things way too many times. Things are getting out of hand. Now, obviously, you're not going to explain things like how to drive a car, because that's assumed to be basic knowledge. It's just clutch down and gear, accelerate type of thing, right? But in a movie such as Interstellar, right, they're going into space. There's a lot of science fiction that's coming into play. There's a lot of science as well coming into play. You need to sort of explain details to the audience. But just like Interstellar, you can't then have someone who's going into space, like on a space mission, and them not knowing how things work. But it's more like maybe the team is trying to measure the size of their knowledge.
Lazarus came back from the dead.
Sure, but he had to die in the first place. There's not a planet in our solar system that can sustain life, and the nearest star is over 1,000 years away. I mean, that doesn't even qualify as futile. Where'd you send him?
Cooper, I can't tell you any more unless you agree to pilot this craft.
And, you know, they just sort of telling each other how things work, just to show that, yeah, but no, I know this. Yeah, but okay, do you have a degree in, you know, this? Because you also didn't mention this relativity and blah, 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 blah. All of that. That's a way to sort of, you know, explain things to the audience. Even if it's a concept that's been used multiple times before, like time travel. An example being like Back to the Future. I still haven't watched any of those. I'm gonna do that soon, don't worry. But Hot Tub Time Machine, Back to the Future, all of those time travel movies, you know, it's then when it comes to something like Avengers Endgame, when they were talking about going back to the past, you know, they had to set their own rules so that you know that this is what's going on. It's not like any other movie. And they also made a reference to those movies and said, yeah, no, it's not like that. This is what's actually happening. That's a way to then tell you, it tells the audience as well, okay, this is actually what's going on. It's not just, I think, you know, as a member of the audience, you're not just thinking, okay, and I guess it makes sense. It's not really how I would have pictured it, but, you know, it made sense. Or at the end of the movie, you just said, nah, that movie sucked because I don't understand anything. You have to tell the audience what's going on. Now, unfortunately, I lost the footage to a review I was working on for the movie Sightless, but that's actually a good example for perspective, because what's her name? Ellen. Yes. That lady Ellen who lost her eyesight at the beginning of the movie, and you know, now she's sort of in rehab or some sort of care place. She's somewhere, and now she's interacting with different people every day, you know, but she doesn't know what any of them look like. But we're watching the movie from her perspective, so we're seeing how she sees the people in her mind based off of, you know, the voices of the people she's interacting with every day. She tries to imagine what they would look like, okay? And that's how the movie plays out, like 80% of the time, because she doesn't know what they look like. But to us, we're seeing everything from her perspective. That's how she thinks, you know, this person looks like, that person looks like, the cop looks like this, etc. And then that actually makes way for the reveal later that it was just basically one person who was sort of just changing their voice. And you know, that now also incorporates the big plot twist and everything. Just, you know, you just left feeling kind of like, what? Now in movies where there's a narrator or a narration, you know, there's one of two ways that it can go. You either have something like Deadpool, where Deadpool's narrating the movie and is also a character within the movie.
To understand why I took a cat nap on 1,200 gallons of high-test fuel, I need to take you back to the dewy slopes of 6 weeks ago. I'd gone international, taken out mass murderers, gangsters, unspeakable monsters.
So it's sort of like, okay, that's everything that's happening from their perspective. You know, they're explaining everything from their perspective, whether it's it's a memory and they're retelling the story, where even if some narrations are then going, like, it's just someone's voice that's just telling you what's going on, and they're filling in all the plot holes and all of that. There's really only two ways that goes, you know. Deadpool's there, we're watching the movie from Deadpool's perspective. Okay, so obviously Deadpool has to look cool like 90% of the time, because that's his perspective. That's what he sees himself as. In other movies, the narration is basically just filling in plot holes that you need need to know for the whole overall movie to make sense. It's not exactly a character who's within the movie. It's just a voice telling you, yeah, but, and then, you know, our heroes walked like 50 miles or something like that, right? And then you have other things like the camera shaking every time there's a punch, like in between a fight. I can't remember which movie it was, but I remember there was a movie that I actually watched recently where the camera was just shaking after every punch and every block, every kick, everything. You know, it's kind of distracting. It's cool the first time, I guess, but like it's kind of distracting. It's not the best way to show perspective from any character, really, because to us it just looks like whoever was operating the camera was doing a pretty bad job at it. You know, it's just like every time like that. It's kind of just distracting, don't you think? Okay. So overall, you know, perspective and point of view, I still think they're kind of the same thing. Kind of. Very thin line, really. Like, it could be either or. But if you do look at something from someone's point of view, you know, you realize why exactly you need to like subscribe to Seko Entertainment, like the video, leave a comment, and share it with your friends, because that's just, you know, what is up for somebody else. You know, help me out, man. Anyway, you made it this far. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.